Are you connected to Jesus? I mean, really plugged in? How can you tell? Jesus said, "Stick with me." Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus said comes from John 15, verse 4, but let's read more of that chapter for context. We'll begin in verse 1 and read through verse 8. Jesus said, "I am the true gardener," or grapevine, rather, "and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you." And this is the main verse for today's Jesus said, verse 4, "Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Yes, I am the vine. You are the branches. Those who remain in me, and I in them, will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father." Did you get that? When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. Now, this passage is after what we call the Last Supper, some of the last teaching that Jesus gave before crucifixion. And I believe that one of the points that he's making here is that if you don't bear fruit, there is really no connection with Jesus. Jesus clearly stated that he alone is the vine. He's the source for all those who believe in him. We are attached to him. We are attached to the vine by faith, but also for a purpose. We are attached to him to bear fruit. And if we don't bear fruit, the Father prunes us. He cuts us off. Do you get that? Bearing fruit isn't optional. It's a direct result of being connected with Jesus. If you remain in him, you will bear fruit. No fruit, no connection. So that leads us to the question, are you connected? You know, if you've ever grabbed hold of an extension cord that is frayed or has a wire exposed, you've felt the power of 120 volts of electricity. I've never seen anyone come into contact with that much electricity without having an immediate and noticeable reaction. Can you just consider for a minute that we are connected to Jesus, the true vine? We are connected to the very power that created the universe. How can we be plugged into that kind of power and there be no change? You can't. Somehow we have this crazy idea that we can be connected to Jesus and not bear fruit. But Jesus clearly said, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, that we would bear fruit. And then when he said, when you produce much fruit, he said, you are my true disciples. And this brings great glory to my Father. So where is that fruit? What does that fruit look like? Well, that fruit is revealed in Jesus' very words. When we obey what he says, Jesus produces the fruit in our lives. Disciples make disciples. Disciples bear spiritual fruit. And we see a great list of that fruit in Galatians 5:22-23. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the kind of fruit a true disciple bears. And a true disciple bears the kind of fruit that obeys Jesus' commands. And he told us to go make disciples. So we're connected to him when we bear fruit. That's how we can tell what a true disciple is. The fruit of the Spirit and the fruit of obedience. If you stick with Jesus, you will stick with love. Jesus said, stick with me. How can you put that into action today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it means a lot to me if you like it, if you share it, if you comment. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the support. I hope that you have an amazing day, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.